Before we get started tonight, here, ladies and gentlemen, on an episode of Fast Break on IE Sports Radio, I want to talk about one of our sponsors, Legacy Financial. Last year was a tough year. However, staying positive, keeping your faith, and continuing to work hard is the goal. If you're in a financial struggle at the moment, and you need some help, or if you're doing well and you want to get to the next level, either way, give them a call. Also, if you're looking for a new opportunity to work for yourself and earn more money part-time, give them a call also. Call AO at 510-928-2104 to book your appointment today. Andrew and AO are just two people on a mission to help families build a legacy. You can find them on social media at Twitter at legacy_uncut and on Instagram, Sims_uncut, and also on Facebook, Legacy Financial. Also, one of our other sponsors, the Warriors Semi-Pro Football Team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes. Whether it's playing to get film to try out for the professional teams, big-time colleges, or just trying to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players a second chance since 2017. Wherever you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find them on social media at Twitter at SoCal Warriors, also on Instagram at Southern California Warriors, and also on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Now on to the show. Well, with the breaking news of Kim Mulkey leaving Baylor after 20 plus years to go to her home state, Louisiana, at LSU, we'll discuss that. Can she turn LSU around and what that means for the rest of the SEC women's. Also, the Knicks are on a winning streak and New York fans are popping. We'll discuss if they can keep this momentum up towards the playoffs and maybe make a surprise during that run. We'll discuss that and much more here on Fast Break, live on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for that is always sports. And you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shall tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of news breaking, lots of storylines happening. The world of basketball is not stopped. Even if the NCAA tournament concluded a couple weeks ago, news is still happening. So we're going to discuss that a lot more tonight. Mr. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well, man. We already had plenty to talk about the big decision that she had to make, Miss Kim had to make, and before the show came, the news dropped. So, very interesting decision made. But I'm doing very, very well, man. Super excited to see what's going to happen.
Oh yes, there's some reports that they say she's going to wait till Monday to discuss that. But I guess the word leaked out that she was going to take the job, leaving Waco to go to Baton Rouge, back to her home state. It's a plus for her. And then we discussing off air, her son plays baseball at LSU. So, I think she looked out, factored all those things in. She accomplished what she can accomplish at Baylor. Because we talked this off air. Baylor is a pretty hard place to win at. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but
yeah, I mean, I just understanding that. For one, you know this, and I've been saying this for years, and I've bragged about it before. Hell, I know you part of the SEC, but I'm a diehard SEC fan. I feel like all sports in this conference is the hardest gauntlet to go through. My personal experience of being a former athlete, going through it there myself, attending University of Tennessee. So I feel like this conference is very hard. So for her to make this transition to this conference, it's got to be pretty tough. And then, hell, if you think about it, they did add Texas A&M to this conference, which is another very, very solid team in all sports as well. So, yeah, it's going to be very tough, man. But I told you, and we'll get more into it, but I feel like she's a hell of a coach. And, this could be like a perfect fit.
yeah, I think it should be perfect fit for LSU. I feel like this is like their hire they had to make because what the Title IX stuff going on with the program right now. So you get this figurehead, this lady that's been a staple of college basketball, one of the more recognized coaches in college basketball. I think, they swung the fences. They made the right move. I'm pretty sure they offered more money when she was getting annually at Baylor. I hope they did. And I try to sell, you just come back on home. No. Money talks.
Yep, you know it.
And if you want to convince me to come back and come home, it's nice and all, but show me the money.
I need some chips.
If you want me convince me to come and compete against the South Carolinas, Tennessee, Georgia,
yeah,
A&M. Hey, show me the money. Show me what resources you're gonna give me to compete against those said teams.
Mm-hmm.
The facilities. I know you got to take care of football and whatnot, but they don't need an automated not light for their bedrooms. Give me something I can work with so I could bring the best players I can bring down here to Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I mean, again, and like I said, and I stand to this. This might go off track a little bit, but I'll say this: LSU, then they won a title a couple years ago. We know that them and Bama continuously fight every year. Basically, whoever wins that game goes to national titleship game, right?
Yeah.
National championship game, or go to the playoffs, right? I'll say this to add on. Right now, in track right now, they literally have something like the Heisman Trophy called the Bowden Trophy for men and women. There's 3 people up for it right now on each side, and the top 3 people for the men right now are all at LSU. I'll say that right now, the fastest time in the 400 right now in the world right now is the guy that goes to LSU. So I say it to say that this university demands respect and demands championships, and this is what they stand on, just like the Bama, just like Baylor did, and in their respective sports. So again, she's coming in. It's going to be pressure, but this is not a situation where I'm just getting hired to come back home. The first game, you guys are going to play Diddy's Coming Home like they did LeBron, and then we're going to sing Kumbaya. Nah, it doesn't work like that. They want to bring her in to compete for titles. She won 3 titles at Baylor. Am I right?
Correct.
They want the same thing, something similar, compared to Baylor, they want that at LSU. They want her to be the coach of the LSU, and I think it can be done, but that's what the expectations are.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think what she brings to the table, what she's going to do, is going to, I think, set itself up. You know, you talk about the pressure. You know, I don't think LSU. I don't think they'd be that crazy to kind of, if things don't go right, get rid of her, because all the stuff they got going on right now, it'd kind of be like a bad look. So you got to at least get her one recruiting cycle in. And we don't know in terms of the contract yet, but, you know, pretty sure it's like a 5-6 year deal. You know, so you got to at least get her one recruiting cycle in, see what that does and changes. You know, I think you can buy a little patience. You know, LSU last year, they were what? Pulling it right now. Just had it. There we go. They were 9-13, 6-8 in conference play. So I think you could buy a little patience there.
Yeah.
Because below them, just look at the standings. Mississippi State 10-9, Missouri 9-13, Ole Miss 15-2, Florida 12-14, Vandy, you know, COVID issues, stuff like that, 4-4, you know, 0-3 conference play. Now Auburn 0-15, conference play, 5-19 for their record. So give it a little time. You kind of see you kind of above those teams I just mentioned. So it's gonna take a little while for them to get, you know, up to good standing. It's just worry about the rest of the conference: A&M, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, UK, Arkansas, Alabama. Those are the ones you got to kind of climb over.
Right. Those are the big teams, yeah.
And like that, you know, give her time. And I think, you know, she will do it. And ain't no ifs. I think she will, in my humble eyes. But
I believe so as well. And my thing is, I just think, you know, I gave you that comparison with, and we'll transition to it. You know, we just was looking at what Nick Saban, the resume he had before he got to Bama, right? We already know he got a title. And LSU was consistently competing for one. And then he goes to Bama. They literally have maybe 2 seasons that is considered terrible for Nick Saban. And after that, everything changed, right? We talked about what they were 7-6, and then they went from 7-6 to 12-1 because of the guy that he is, the coach that he is, what he demands, his program, how he works. It's the same thing with, you know, the respect I have for Tom Thibodeau, who's the Knicks coach right now. And I really liked him as a coach for a long, long time. And we talked about months ago, well, damn, like, the Knicks missed out on Zion. They missed out on KD. Kyrie, like, what's going on with it? They need this big guy. They go get Julius Randle, who obviously is playing out of his mind. And they have a hell of a coach, Tom Thibodeau, and they're 4th in the East right now. Let me say that again. The New York Knicks are 4th in the East right now. So that plays a huge part in coaching. And I think that she's going to play a very, very, very important role at LSU. I give it a little bit of time, but once she starts to get her hands, she starts to put the work in, gets the work and gets the recruits there, her system and fits there, and then she's, you know, feeling like she's at home, being the assistant coach there for a while and the point guard there. Like, I think her roots is going to help her as well. So I think it's going to turn out very, very good for both parties.
yeah, and we'll just put a bow on that. And I'm pretty sure we'll talk about her again, and then see who, you know, during this recruiting cycle, who she flips over to come to LSU. I think that would be key. Who, you know, who comes and goes, and then who she brings in also. and then also what assistance she brings from Waco to, Baton Rouge. But you brought up one man named Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau has got the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, on a 9-game winning streak. Knicks fans, you shared it. I mean, you shared this on D-Lock on social media on Twitter. Knicks fans at the subways dancing and singing like it's like the damn West Side Story.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this Knicks run right now? We talked last week about Randle being potential. In my eyes, I think he's first team All NBA.
Yes.
What are your thoughts of this run right now for the Knicks, and can they keep this momentum going?
Well, let me say this first and get this bittersweet moment, bitter moment out the way for me. I need the Orlando Magic front office to be paying attention to what the New York Knicks are doing right now, because they are making a drastic change and they're making a huge piece moving forward to something they're setting up that's going to be great for 20 to 30 years from now. I believe it's just how they're setting up right now, because the Magic ain't doing shit right now. To be honest, we never do. We do the same thing historically. Clearly, the Knicks are doing something different. Now, as I said before, and I led to it with LSU hiring a great coach, Tom Thibodeau is just that guy. I mean, I feel like he is a huge piece that's playing a huge part in what's going on. I remember for a while we were talking about, was it Scott Perry? That front office for the Knicks, we was like, well, hell, like, are they going to ruin the franchise?
Yeah.
It's like Tom Thibodeau came in and said, okay, I know how you guys were doing things before. That's not working with me. If you want me to stay around, I'm about success. I want these different things. And it seemed like the Knicks front office just bought in. I mean, right now, remember what he did with Derrick Rose in Chicago. Like, how can we forget that, right? With Joakim Noah. Taj Gibson was there. I believe Jimmy Butler was there for a little bit of time. So this guy is I think he's one of the premier coaches. I think the Timberwolves situation, again, it goes to the front office, and we see what the Timberwolves are doing right now. I just sent you a message just yesterday or a couple of days ago. What the hell are the Timberwolves doing? They're still struggling. So, they tie into what Orlando Magic doing. But this guy, I think he's just that. I think he's that dude. That's just my opinion. He's making a huge impact. They went and got a solid piece in Julius Randle, which when Kristaps Porzingis left, we knew what Kristaps Porzingis could have been a unicorn. We knew what he could have been and what he's doing now. We could do the same thing in New York, and he looked like a solid piece in Dallas. But they got a hell of a piece in Julius Randle, who we knew was that guy when he was with the Lakers, when the Lakers got him. And now he's living up to those expectations. So you go get Elfrid Payton, who's a defensive player who kind of fits Tom Thibodeau's scheme or defense. You go get Derrick Rose, who we've seen him do what he's done in the past. You got Nerlens Noel, who's looking like a solid center right now, defensive. And then you got the shooting R.J. Barrett. Like, this team right now is trending up. They look very, very good. Not to mention Reggie Bullock, who is a defensive player as well, that he starts to click every couple of games. I don't know if you've been noticing a little bit. He clicks, against a couple of teams. So, then they're drafting very well with Emmanuel Quigley there as well. So, you have a good group right now. A very, very good group. Shout out to one of my best friends, Michael Cherry, who was like a diehard New York Knicks fan. I mean, he was literally with them when they were drafting top, going in the lottery every year. A couple of years back, I went to Florida State with him. He's like one of the guys that's super excited right now as well. But this team is just moving forward. And I think they can hold it up. Now, obviously, we are talking about the East, right? We're not talking about the West. But the fact that they are literally one game ahead of Atlanta in the 4th spot right now is amazing for it to be the New York Knicks that we're talking about. I mean, think about the teams we're talking about in front of them. We're talking about the Nets, who have 3 MVP candidates or MVP-type players, and Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. We're talking about the 76ers, who have an MVP candidate, and Joel Embiid, who we've already been talking about how great they've been playing all year. And obviously, they got the 2-time MVP Giannis with Milwaukee in front of them. Those are the 3 teams that's in front of them. Those 3 teams. So right now, the playoffs would have started now. They're playing against the Hawks in a sense where I would like them to beat them maybe in 5. So for me, because I say that because Trae Young is up and down sometimes. You don't know what you're going to get from Gallinari every game. And Bogdanovich looks like he's starting to get his legs under him a little bit. And then obviously John Collins looks like he's ready to go. So, but these Knicks, they are looking very, very good right now. They have the biggest thing that many teams need in the NBA, and that's defense. The 76ers are looking very great right now too because they have they have the defense. They have the big men. They have they're a very good defensive team. So I can see them moving up. I just think that Tibbs is, man, like, this is not a shocker to me. I mean, it kind of is, but not really because of who their coach is, what he demands. Now, being the fact that it's so early, that's the reason why I'm kind of shocked by it. But yeah, I'm liking what I see with this. It's the same thing with LeBron. LeBron said. He said the NBA is much better when the Knicks are playing very good, and I agree with him.
The Knicks, yeah, very impressive. Julius Randle playing his butt off right now, scoring 30-plus points in his win streak as well. That's key, with this whole run. They beat, a lowly Raptors team that I think before the season started, I think we thought there's gonna be like one last run with this group, and they kept some of the same key pieces that, excuse me, that they had from their finals run a couple years ago. Now you kind of like flip flop those 2 teams around. And you got the Knicks in this spot that we kind of expected the Raptors were supposed to be at. You mentioned, shooting stuff. R.J. Barrett, I think finally come to his own, here this season. And then the role players, Derrick Rose, seems like he plays very well with Tom Thibodeau. I don't know what it is with the connection with those two, whatever, but he's like he's gotten the best out of him, ever since he came to the league. Reggie Bullock, nice role player for them. Yep. 3-point shooting, 3-and-D guy, nice spacing. I know the stat line don't show it at times, like you mentioned about Norris Noel. A guy that can change the defense, kind of know his role, and kind of fix perfectly what Thibodeau wants to do on defense. In a lot of eyes. Microwave quickly. If he's on, he's on.
Yep.
And that's the thing with this crew. They don't really have one big superstar except for Randall and a former superstar in Rose. It's just like kind of like a lot of guys that grab your lunch bell and let's get to work.
And go to work, yeah. That's what we're seeing. I mean, they're in here competing for games every day in and game out. And I don't know how, and I know you know this, being a coach, basketball coach, right? You know how it feels when you're on the streak. You know that feeling when you're consistently winning games and it's back to back to back to back. That chemistry continues to grow. The feel is just totally different. So that's what they are doing right now. And I mean, how can you how can you say anything necessarily bad about them right now? They're just playing so good. Now I'm not gonna say they're gonna go to the NBA Finals right now, but I do see them, causing some problems in the playoffs. If they can keep this fourth spot, I definitely can see them causing some issues. Now I do believe the Heat are kind of moving up, but I do see them cause some big time issues for all the other East teams.
And before I get my thoughts in, shout out to the chat. Taryn Rodriguez in the chat. Taryn, we'll go back a couple of things he said. Isn't Alabama one of the best SEC, teams in the SEC women's basketball? They slowly getting there. Maybe. I hope so. As a Bama fan, I hope so. But it's just like... They okay for what
It's a build.
It's a build. Yeah, it's on the women's side of athletics for Alabama. It kind of goes in this pecking order. Softball. Well, no. Well, hold on. Either depending on who you talk to, softball or gymnastics. Then after that, you got basketball. And then maybe golf, and everything else kind of falls in between, in line. So, I mean, Christy Curry getting some things done. Well, we'll see. I forgot old girl's name. Got drafted by the Sparks in the WNBA draft about a week or so ago. So that's a positive for them going down the line. Okay, I got somebody drafted. Got somebody going to a very notable franchise who could be the face of the franchise here a couple of years with Candace Parker gone and a couple other faces gone. So we'll see. And then also Taryn, mentioned that Tommy T got that magic touch like you alluded to. And then also Julius Randle. Talking about Julius Randle, he wished, the Lakers would have kept him. But then he said, AD wouldn't be in LA if Julius Randle was in the fold. What you think about that? Do you think the Lakers kind of gave up on Randle too soon? Or the Lakers, always had their sights set on getting a superstar regardless?
I honestly feel like, things had it worked perfect for both sides. I feel like that crew that they had with D'Angelo Russell, with Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, the Lakers had a lot of pieces there, that they could have built around. It's just that, the Lakers are one of those franchises that they don't, take the time to build like that. They want to be good right now. They're kind of like the Dallas Cowboys. They make big moves to be great right now. So developing a player is something that they're not wanting to do, or hell, even used to. They are always bringing guys in and are continuously. We know the Lakers to be one of those teams that are contending for a title every year. So that little time where late great Kobe was there and they weren't contending for a title, they were already trying to figure out how to put pieces around him. So when he retired, now it's like, all right, we need guys to replace him, man. Those guys just wasn't there at the time. They wasn't there to fill the shoes of what Kobe was doing. So, they had their eyes set on, basically looking and seeing what other players were doing, like LeBron and like AD, and see how things were starting to move, and then they pressed the issue on who they wanted. For me, I feel like Julius Randle was destined to be a very good player over time. D'Angelo Russell, I still think he's going to be a hell of a player. You see what Brandon Ingram is doing. But it's just at that franchise, that's not a developing franchise, really. I mean, really haven't seen it too much with them. So it's just that I feel like they were, saying, okay, yeah, Julius Randle could be that guy, but we know, that we want somebody to be great right now. And, getting LeBron made it a hell of a lot easier and even pushed the issue to go grab another star because LeBron is not going to your franchise and you're just going to develop. I don't care what age he is. He's going to win now. Miami seen that. It was the reason why they got Chris Bosh as well and added Ray Allen. So he got, the Lakers. They had the first year of the struggle, the injury. And then, they pushed to who they wanted to get and what they needed. And that's when AD came in and fell in their lap, basically. So, for me, I think Julius Randle was something they could have seen in their future, but, the Lakers look at right now. They don't look too much toward just the future.
Yeah. I think we spoke on this before that, I kind of wish the Lakers would develop rookies and stuff like that better. But history indicates that they really don't do that too much. But when they do, I mean, it brings great results.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson, James Worthy. Then you hit the 90s, Vlade Divac, he was pretty solid for them. And then, Kobe Bryant. Who else? Nick Van Exel, second round guy. Just like show some patience. Then you look now what these guys are. I was like, damn, we kind of had these guys in the fold already. I'm like, well, damn, kind of got rid of them pretty quick.
Very fast.
Now, granted, yeah, getting AD helped you push to get a championship, yes. But, at what cost?
Yeah.
I had this conversation with somebody. The Lakers still need like another superstar because LeBron's getting up there in years.
Yeah, I agree with you.
We'll talk about AD here in a little bit, but he's coming back from injury. He's been out for a couple months. So, and he hasn't had like the best health since his time in the league. Kyle Kuzma really hasn't taken the mantle, and that's the other thing about it too. Everybody else you got rid of, but you kind of hid your horses on Kuzma, but he really hasn't taken that brass ring to be that third dude.
Yeah, I mean that's one person that I feel like you said, hasn't made that drastic improvement, and we've talked about it literally all year. Like, damn, like when are we gonna see what we want from this guy? And we have yet to see it. So I believe they can literally build around their players, but do they that much? No, not often.
Yeah, and going back to the Knicks and Julius Randle, I remember a story I read not too long ago about they talking about Julius Randle and stuff like that, and sharing him a Kobe story. This is when the Lakers were in that rebuild mode, still had Kobe in the fold, and they were in Detroit. I think it was Detroit. And I think Julius Randle's from there. I'm not too sure, but no. Take it back. It was Texas. I forgot. Randle's from Texas. I'm sorry. Anyway, they're on a road trip. Randle's fault, he's here in hometown, Dallas, all that stuff. He's going to kick it with his family and partners. All that jazz. Kobe got it, texted him and stuff like that. Hey, said, hey, come with me with this gym at the gym here at this time, and we'll get some work in. And Julius Randle's, oh crap, not oh crap, like damn, I thought I was gonna chill everybody, but you kind of see at that moment in young career that being around Kobe, that mindset, instilled in him. It's like if I'm gonna be great, some things gotta be pushed to the side.
Yeah.
I can see my family anytime or friends anytime, if time is available. But if I'm gonna be at the top of my game, I got to outwork, outgrind the next person. And that's what
I mean. It's never a stop. You never stop with this. So, and we've seen Kobe's work. A lot of great players, LeBron's work, Tom Brady's work. A lot of these professional athletes, Serena Williams, they make a lot of sacrifices. So, and like you said, Kobe was trying to instill that into him, at that time.
And for the Knicks, from that point forward, going on back to that story, when he was in Detroit to find a gym to work out in, like a basketball gym to work out in, the guy told Randle, the last NBA player that asked for an open gym was Kobe Bryant. The last person that was here at this gym to work out was Kobe Bryant. That spoke volumes from that point, early his career in LA, up to now with him with his second year with the Knicks. And then this is where you're at right now with a Julius Randle, along with Thibodeau in the fold, and you're on a 9-game winning streak with his excellent play right now. And if you're a Knicks fan, you gotta be you hope to God your franchise keep this guy in the fold. I know he has a team option after this year, which I think they'll pick up, or maybe decline it to give him a large, a big time deal later. But you got your centerpiece right here. You hoping your third overall pick from last year comes along better. I just think, get Mitchell Robinson back healthy and find a point guard in free agency. I think you're cooking. And we discussed that last week. When Adam was in the chat asking, point guards and stuff like that. We went down the list. There's going to be some decent point guards out, in free agency next year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just feel like now, looking at the Knicks, what are they? Now that we'll see how this year ends, and we'll continue talking about how does this year go, and then what is your plan moving forward? What are you trying to do? What's the plan? What are you trying to do? Competitive wise. So for me, it's just about after figuring that out. Now you look for those missing pieces. I mean, they got a good group of guys there, But do you go after a big time one more superstar? Do you go after one more superstar and you add one draft pick? Does that make a big difference? Because once you can do that, who's to say what we expect out of these Knicks moving forward? I believe they bring Julius Randle back as well. I don't see them letting him walk. I just don't. I don't see it. It wouldn't make any sense to me. Now, it would be some old Knicks crap, to have somebody do that. But I think this is a new, when you have so much going forward for you, now you're literally trying to find any way to keep that team together and keep everything moving forward. So I think they're going to try to do that.
Yeah, I think we're proud how the Knicks are playing. I think like you mentioned, like LeBron, the league is better when the Knicks, at least half-assed. You know, and then like you shared that video on Twitter. Ooh, Nick fan back, baby. They
Oh
back.
yeah,
They stomping in their Timbs. They got their hoodies on. They back.
oh yeah. You got. We're waking up a crowd right now. Also, another shout out to one of my other big time Knicks fans, Dorian Scott, which is a Florida State track coach who is from New York. He is a diehard Knicks fan, diehard New York everything fan. So Giants and Knicks. So I know he's on 10 right now, and have every right to be. I mean, right now, can we literally say that we were expecting this from this team, like when the season began? No,
I didn't.
we were not expecting it. Exactly, we were not expecting this. I mean, we can go back and look at, and for a lot of you guys listening, you can go back and check out when we did our, previews of each conference and see how we felt about these teams prior to, because we definitely were wrong on it. And now look at them, So it's I ain't gonna lie, it's very exciting to see as well, because now games at Madison Square Garden is a different thing.
Oh yeah, and well, for the fans that let in and stuff like that, I hope they experience it well. We'll see if they keep, like I said, we'll put a bow on this, but if they can inch up in the standings a little bit more, surprise, get past Milwaukee, get that third seed, and you kind of for sure got that home court in the first round if they say at 3 or 4. If you get those Knicks fans back in the building, that'll be a huge plus as well. We know COVID and stuff like that. New York got a lot of funky stuff going. I mean, a lot of rules and stuff like that. So, by hope, and James Owen got a lot of money to influence this, to talk to some people. Maybe you can influence and get some more fans in their arena come playoff time. That's one damn decent thing he can do. But
Yeah, these Knicks right now, they're just looking very good right now. I'm definitely happy about this.
we mentioned about AD and Lakers and stuff like that, and he's back in the fold for the Lakers. The Lakers are sitting at 5th in the Western Conference right now, 35-25. How does his return impact this team going forward toward the playoffs? Because right now you're sitting in the middle of the pack. You lost to the Mavericks yesterday, and you're about like a game and a half ahead of them.
Yeah.
How much does his return impact this team, who's kind of been somewhat on a slump in a ways?
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Pretty sure we both watched the last couple games with AD back. Now he's been on the minutes restrictions. First game, I believe he did 15 minutes first half, didn't play the second half. Last game, it was about 25 minutes he played, but you can see that he wasn't really in too much. They're filling him in. It seems like what they are doing is they're trying to see what the chemistry looks like with him and Drummond. And to be honest with you, and I might get a lot of credit for saying this, but dude, the Lakers they're gonna kick some ass all year when they get healthy. They're gonna be so hard to beat. So hard to beat. Like, the reason why I say this is you can clearly tell. Did you see the game that Andre Drummond had with AD with just 15 minutes?
Yep.
like, they're going to be a problem. And the reason why is because Drummond at the 5, AD at the 4. Who are you focusing on? Because if you focus on one, the other one is going to kill you. So, and that's just those two. Schroeder had a hell of a game as well. Now, obviously, they're still getting him in, and they're still getting AD connected. I think it plays a huge part because they're trying to see how the chemistry is going to look with the Twin Towers, him and Drummond down low. They're going to force teams to make a decision on who they're going to focus on. And the problem with that is we're not even talking about when LeBron is back. So it's going to cause a lot of friction between, a lot of problems for other teams. The biggest thing is now, don't forget you still got Trez off the bench. Now, he didn't play too much the last game, but I'm believing that's just them trying to figure out the rhythm between those two guys and then trying out different lineups with Marc Gasol and Trez. But him coming back is playing a huge, huge part. And the reason why is because now he's that defensive player that's making a huge impact along with Drummond. So they're grabbing anything off the glass, to be honest with you. So they're going to be a big problem. KCP didn't play yesterday, so that's one of the shooters. Did see Ben McLemore get a couple shots up. Obviously, he's going to get in the mode as well. But when Ron comes back and you still got Dennis Schroeder, you got a lot of guys that they can, go to. Now, obviously, it seems like this team is built just for bigs first, which makes a lot of sense. But defensively, they're going to be a huge, huge problem. And that's what you want. Remember, we were talking about just recently the Knicks, right? The Knicks got a bunch of defensive players, and Tibbs plays a lot of defense. Well, Frank Vogel is the same way. And now that he has these big guys that can make this big impact with AD and Drummond, obviously you're going to need them to you're going to have different lineups with Bron is there with different, because you only have space the floor a little bit for Bron, but you have so many different ways that you can approach it now. And for him to come back, just to get back in the fold a little bit, dude, it's going to cause hell of problems for different teams. Because if you're not big down low everywhere, what do you do? I mean, I think it really hurt Brooklyn Nets when Aldridge retired. I mean, they obviously wasn't, him and Blake wasn't the younger of themselves, but they had some bigs down there. Now, DeAndre Jordan's going to play a little bit more, obviously, but the fact that they added in Drummond, and now they have, we are talking about Drummond now. Andre Drummond he ain't no punk now.
No.
So, you got him and AD down low. You have honestly, I think this is a better team than last year's team. This a better combination with AD and Drummond than Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee and AD. So this is going to cause huge issues. The only thing is, I hope that this team can kind of get back a little sooner, healthy before the playoffs start, so they can kind of get that chemistry going. Because right now you said at the 5th seed, they're going to run into a couple teams that's going to challenge them. But dude, this team, man, I don't see. A team that I think is probably going to be a big issue, but it did hurt them when their star point guard went down. It's Denver, because they have a lot of pieces as well. But I don't, man. With those two guys down low, what do you do? And we haven't even talked about the best player in the league yet.
Yeah, the health is a big thing. And I think Drummond, being that cleaner down low can go a long way defensively and offensively, for second chance points. I tweeted from the Fast Break account. If you're not following us on there, please do a Fast Break IESR. That's Fast Break IESR. I think you mentioned about KCP. Yeah, he played great against, a couple days ago against the Mavs, 29 points and stuff like that. But then we talked about in the past, he's a FanDuel All-Star. He'll show up, play great, and then other games, he give you 6 points. And it's got to be some consistency. I think for them, the Lakers to take them over the top. There's got to be some consistency for that 2-guard spot. Granted, yes, you should get that consistency from Kyle Kuzma because you're paying this money to be that third guy. But also that 2-guard spot, you got to see some more consistency there. Wherever it's KCP, wherever it's Ben McLemore, who they picked up from waivers not too long ago, or Horton Tucker, who they seen that really high on. Or hell, even Wes Matthews. So, between those 4 guys, they got to figure out, who's gonna take the mantle, who's gonna depend on the most. Because if you ain't getting that production from them, for the open looks and stuff like that, what you gonna draw from AD when LeBron gets back, what Schroeder does on offense and stuff like that, Lakers may be where to hurt in a sense. Because let's see, they 5th right now in the standings.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then the season ended today. They're playing Denver. Now, granted, like you mentioned, Jamal Murray out for the rest of the year. So you could take advantage of that point guard position. But if you get past the Denver team, then you're looking at a potential Utah matchup in that second round.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like I said, that's the biggest deal. Is just this team. I like the fact that they're getting him back, but it's just at this point you want to make sure that, like you said, health is what this thing is, and if they can get everybody healthy on time, at the right time, I don't see anybody beating this team. I know the Nets have guys that can shoot from hell anywhere, but they're going to get dominated down low. It's just what it is. So for me, this team can be very, very good. But as you said, and I've been trying to find this, I'm waiting for this dude to literally catch fire. And I ain't going to lie to you, bro. Like, I'm never picking KCP ever again on FanDuel. I keep getting burnt. I got burnt like twice picking this dude, like in prime positions with people out, and he still doesn't hit north of 24 total FanDuel points. Like it's kind of aggravating sometimes. So I'm waiting to see him click. And the funny thing is, he will click on a random night. Like it'll just be one night where we're expecting all the Lakers to maybe blow somebody out or they get blew out. This dude, they have freaking 23 scoring points and 4 rebounds or something like that. So, again, like you said, that that 2-guard position, we're looking for that consistency. Now I do think Ben McLemore is going to come in and steal some of those minutes. Hell, I seen him yesterday. I believe he started yesterday, and he legit took 3 threes. Within the first 2 minutes of the game, trying to catch the rhythm. So, and the thing about that is, it's not bad when you got Twin Towers down there. So I think that's going to help them. But if they can get healthy, LeBron is going to demand respect, obviously, too. So now, these teams are playing man-to-man for the most part, or they were playing the Lakers man-to-man before AD got back. Because the only person they literally were leaning on was Drummond a little bit, who just got to L.A., Trez from time to time, but more likely Schroeder. So when you can do that, KCP is not getting the full open shots like he wants. Kyle Kuzma, we just talked about him. He's not consistent enough, or hasn't been consistent. So now when these guys get fully healthy, you got to change up your whole defense. And once you do that, KCP is going to get a little bit more open shots. Maybe Ben McLemore gets a few open shots. They start to knock these little shots down, which is what they need. So, but it's clear how this team is built. This team is built based off of having a lot of defensive players, and that's what they expect. So, but I mean, like you said, they can't be consistent at the 2 guard position. That's going to be a problem. But health is the big issue right now. They need to make sure they clear that up.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think the Lakers will. And I think Terry saying in the chat, the Lakers will be fine once they get LeBron back. That's the key. And we'll see where his head's at. I know he's been tweeting, discussing everything right now. So hopefully when LeBron comes back, he's focused and ready to go. Because him having his time off has got his mind preoccupied with other things.
Right.
So hopefully he comes back ready to play. The way Paul George's been playing for the Clippers has been fantastic. Phoenix, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, they've been playing magnificent right now. Time will tell how Donovan Mitchell comes back from his injury. So, if the Lakers just kind of stay at that 5th, 4th spot, I think they'd be fine. I think Utah, if they stay in the 4 or 5 spot, that Utah matchup, or maybe potentially Phoenix, could swing either way. If I'm the Lakers, I mean, I'm not really trying to see Phoenix in that second round.
Yeah. Not yet. Nah. I'm not trying. Yeah, I agree with you there.
I'm not trying to see Phoenix in that second round. I'd rather see Utah because who knows how long they're going to keep Donovan Mitchell out. And you can't really depend on your scoring on a Jordan Clarkson. I like Jordan Clarkson, but at times he's too erratic. And he's a volume shooter. And then Bogdanović, it's like he kind of yearns to. He wants. I kind of want more from him, but he don't give it at times. It's like, damn, dude, you can be scoring a lot more at times.
Yeah, Utah. I think Utah is like the Boston of the West to me. They have so many pieces. Hell, that's another person about Donovan. I talked to my boy yesterday, and I was like, going against the Timberwolves, like, there's no way Bogdanović doesn't eat, and he did. But he's skeptical from time to time. Sometimes he plays good, sometimes he's just in the back, just on the court. Joe Ingles takes his shots, and so does Donovan Mitchell. Hell, even Jordan Clarkson. So they have so many pieces that if they're healthy, then yeah, I can see them being a big time problem. But with Donovan Mitchell, somewhat being out right now, I think that's going to hurt them.
So we'll see how things shake up and stuff like that. For the remaining games of the season, just going around the NBA real quick. Score wise, in the fourth quarter, the Cavs are up on 97-90 on the Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks, kind of key game right here for playoff positioning. Up on the
without Trae Young playing.
Yeah, that's never. Yeah, Trae Young out with a high ankle sprain. So, like, the Hawks are kind of like snake bitten this year.
Yeah, dude, like, we still need to figure out what they're gonna do with John Collins. Like, they got to figure that out because obviously Gallinari look like he's gonna be there for a while, especially when he gets the chance. But this is John Collins. This is last year's contract, right?
Yep.
So, with them being state bitten, we've seen a lot from John Collins this year. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him.
I think so. Well, I think they gotta let him walk.
Yeah.
You know,
I like him too, man. I think he's a real solid player too.
I think they got so much money tied up with Capella, Bogdanovich, Gallinari. You know, those three guys there. And then, you know, where are we going to give Trae Young here in the near future? That's a lot of money right there. And you got to let somebody walk. And then also you got, you know, Herter as well. What his contract be looking like down the line. You know, Hunter, Cam Reddish, those three guys.
Cam Reddish, yeah.
You know, what these contracts gonna look for these guys?
Yeah, I mean you gotta pick and choose, and it's man. I mean, every time I see a team that have a good group of players like that, I always try to figure out why the hell they're not as good as they're supposed to be. I mean, it's the same thing with the Pelicans. I think Van Gundy went out there and complained about the defense. I'm like, well, hell, like you got a bunch of guys up on that team. Like we talked about this earlier in the season too. Like it's some teams I'm just like, man, you got all these pieces right here. I know this league is kind of deep, but some of these games y'all got to figure out a way to win. There's no reason why y'all should be this sorry. Like I just don't see it. But I mean, we see it, you know, time to time.
Yep, we definitely do. Then second quarter, Pacers up by 4 on the Magic right now. I don't know why the Magic isn't playing Dante Hall right now. I'm highly disappointed.
I already told you, dude. That team, they I don't know what they're doing right. It seems like they're tanking for Jalen Suggs or Cade Cunningham right now.
But, you know, they're, down by 6 now to the Pacers. Edmonds, Sumner out of Xavier leading the Pacers with 12 points. No Sabonis tonight, you know, for the Pacers. So.
He had a hell of a game against, was it the Pistons? He had a hell of a game against the Pistons, I believe, yesterday.
Oh, yeah. As another guy, you know, if I mean, I know he don't miss too many games, but I wish he would stay a little healthy, a little more. But he does the damage as well, and kind of make you wonder. You know, we talk about like Julius Randle being given up on. Sabonis is another guy too on his third team, but kind of like found his footing in the right place. You know, start down OKC, or was there Orlando? He started at.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
Traded to OKC. Now he's at Indiana, and he's having having career years there in Indiana. So you know, shout out to Sabonis playing well for the Pacers. You know, he's not playing tonight. Then we go to the final scores today. The Hornets over the Celtics, 125 to 104. The Hornets are in an ACD lock. You got LaMelo Ball about to come back into the fold. With this pending return, can he get this team with this play back, get them over the hump for to lock that 8th seed, or do you see somebody else coming behind them?
The only team I think that's gonna push them is the Pacers. But the Hornets just they're. Remember, we thought the Hornets were gonna just. We thought the Hornets weren't gonna be that good this year. We thought that them signing Gordon Hayward was a big mistake, especially for all that money. Now he's been hurt for a while, but they are actually, you know, in the playoffs right now. So I think that him coming back is gonna play a big part. The only thing is how, what team. Now, early in the season, the Heat were just kind of going through emotion, just trying to get through the season, get through the past NBA Finals, which is recent. But now they're starting to click. So I think they're going to move up a little bit. I do see the Hawks possibly dropping back, but I think the Hornets are going to surge as well. So, but the team that is going to push them is the Pacers. I don't know what the hell the Bulls doing. I don't know. So again, another team that has a very solid roster. It just did make a couple trades, but for them to be so far behind is kind of shocking. I expect more from them as well. But I think that the Hornets will make it. The Raptors, dude, I had already knew once Kawhi was gone what was expected from them. So, but yeah, I think they're gonna press forward. I hope they make that move forward, man, because this would be a big thing for Jordan. We talked about how I think people said he's not a good guy in the front office, and now they're actually looking pretty decent.
I think, if Ball comes back, shows no real effects from that wrist injury, I think, they can make that push for the playoffs. Those other role players have been playing pretty well. P.J. Washington had 22 and 12 tonight, or earlier this afternoon. Devonta Graham, kind of like lost in the shuffle with Ball playing and stuff like that. Early in the season, Graham kind of went on a slump there. He wasn't scoring as well like he was last year. But I think he is kind of finding that confidence in himself again. And he had 24 points and 9 assists today. Rozier, he had 11 assists as well, 21 points. What he can do. Miles Bridges, it seems like this month he's been putting people on posters on a game-to-game basis. And then, getting contributions from guys like Carrier Martin. Like an end-of-the-bench guy who's kind of like on like last leg trying to stay in the league. Now, since Hayward's been out, that's kind of extending his life in the NBA for a little bit longer. Some team probably going to look at that and say, okay, this guy can score a little bit. Don't need to do too much. Can rebound and stuff like that. Real versatile. So, I think Martin, with the small ball style in the NBA, has kind of bought himself more time in the league, which is, great for him.
Very true.
So I think, when Ball comes back, I think the Hornets can do some things. And this is like a bad loss for the Celtics. I don't.
I mean, I've already told you how I felt about them, and it's. You got to figure out who is your guy. We know who Jason Tatum is, but there has to be a consistency. Like, this team is all over the place. I think Evan Fournier has not played that much since he's been there. I think that's their 9th game. He's only played 4 games, 4 or 5 games. So, what are they? I don't know. They have that. They know who their all-star is, who their couple stars are. They need to lean on them. Now it seems more in question that they overpay for Kemba Walker. If you ask me, he's for them to pay him so much, he hasn't really been that productive. If you ask me.
And I think one thing for the Celtics, I think for them, the presence down low. Where you gonna get that production from? You're not gonna get that scoring for Tristan Thompson. You trade away Daniel Tyus away. You got rid of you waived Mo Wagner to bring in Jarabi Parker. in which was kind of like a head scratching move.
Big time head scratcher.
I was just like, where y'all gonna get y'all production from? Who's gonna be a presence down low? And just looking at the stat lines, it's just like you mentioned, everybody's all over the place. You give 3 minutes here to a Cornet center, 3 minutes to a Romeo Langford, Waters. It's like 12 minutes to Jarabi Parker to do what?
Yeah.
And that's why, go back to the trade deadline with the Magic, for the Celtics. They traded for the wrong player on the Magic. I thought Vooch would be like the perfect fit for them, like a fit on a glove.
I mean, me too, but I'm trying to. Man, dude, you see what we got for him? Like, it tells me like they to pick up. It depends on what they would have had to get Vooch. What were they offering? Like, what I'm thinking that they probably would have tried to get Aaron Gordon as well. To get the bigs up there, but what were they willing to give up? And I don't think that they were willing to give up too much. To be honest, I still think the Magic was stupid to take 2 of them damn second-round picks for Evan Fournier. Like, this is an NFL team. But it's clear that Boston wasn't trying to give up too much. So, with that being said, with Vooch, it was clear what the Magic wanted for him. Now, me, I did like the Wendell Carter pickup. I've been watching him for a while. Picked him on FanDuel a few times, and I think that he's a very good player. But as you said, I felt like Vooch probably was a very, very great. He would be a very, very great, a very, very good piece in Boston. But what were they willing to give up for him? They got a solid squad, but what pieces are you willing to let go of? And it's clear with what they've done, they weren't trying to give up anything. Or they were probably trying to give up some pieces that the Magic weren't trying to take. So, that's like you said, that's a big time, especially getting Jabari Parker. I don't know what the hell they're doing with him right now.
I mean, I like Jabari Parker. I like him coming out of high school, going to Duke. Guy can score, but the ACL injuries kind of hampered his career. But even high school and at college, he ain't no big time defensive stopper or give you some shots defensively. The dude's a scorer. I hate doing player comps, but a player comp for him was like Carmelo Anthony. A straight scorer at the 3 position, maybe at the 4 in small lineups. But that's him. He ain't no damn rebounder. I'm not saying Mo Wagner was like some big time rebounder and stuff like that, but shit, he got some size to him and can shoot a little bit and flush out and stuff like that. But for the Celtics, I don't know.
But that's why I tell you, this team they leave you in question, but we've had so much high expectations for them. Now we get it. Kyrie wanted to have his own team at some point. He wanted to be the guy. But now it even makes it look even more curious to what the hell he's doing in Boston. Like, was he right for leaving there now? Because, I mean, we know what Jason Tatum is. We know what Jaylen Brown is. I honestly think Marcus Smart is an underrated player. For me, that's just my opinion. I think he's better than many give him credit for. But what are they trying to do? Are you just floating? Just to get into the playoffs? Because honestly, they did go pretty far last year. But I think the East I think you'll agree that the East is a hell of a lot better than it was last year. Mm-hmm. So this is not the same. You're not just going to beat a few teams that you probably could have easily lost to and got to where you got last year. Like, the Nets will be a problem. The Knicks will be a problem. The 76ers will be a problem. So, the Heat will be a problem. So, it's going to be kind of, like, interesting to see how it goes. And, if you ask me, one thing that the 76ers have over most of these teams is they have a big man that can dominate. He can dominate. That's why I really like the Sixers in the East a lot, is because they got Joel Embiid, who, if he is healthy, he will cause hell for anybody, any team on that side. And they have a very good defensive team. So, again, if the Celtics run into them, who's going to stop Embiid? So,
ain't nobody.
Yeah. So, and you don't forget now, and I remember, and it's crazy to even think this. I remember going to school with Tobias when he was a freshman in Tennessee. I didn't know who he was. I knew he was like the guy, freshman, whatever. And I knew that he was going to leave, but I was not expecting this from him. Like, I barely knew who he was. I didn't expect this guy to be what the hell he is right now, I believe. So the Sixers got a couple pieces. So for me, the Celtics, of course they got the guards and they got the few guys there. They're pretty deep. But what's going to happen when they face one of these teams with the Heat, who got Bam, who can clearly go off when he wants to? Joel Embiid, who can destroy them at any point. So, is it going to be a point to where the Sixers are going to try to use the draft pick to trade up next year to get a big man? But now we're talking about wasting years with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, and to wrap this up, it kind of falls on Danny Ainge's shoulders. People have talked about this for years, past few years for Danny Ainge. I mean, granted, yeah, you traded for Kyrie. That was a big move, but it felt like you could have done some other things to kind of build a sustainable, squad in Boston. And he really, I don't know if he was scared to do it or not. Or he just got scared like, oh, well, I know how good these guys can be. It's kind of tough to get rid of that. Get rid of these guys. And, it's for the most part, Danny, he, kind of was right in a sense. Like, hey, Jason Tatum, fabulous player. Great find I got a third overall. Same thing with Jaylen Brown. Coming to his own. I got a great find in Marcus Smart. Same draft with like Julius Randle and others. So, if he can find somebody down low for the squad, I think they can go a long way. But until the end, I think they're going to be just kind of where they're at right now.
Yeah.
And the casualty of that may be Brad Stevens. Because Danny Ainge probably go to ownership and say, hey, I know these guys can do better than they are, but maybe this guy can't take us over to the promised land. I don't know. That's something to keep an eye on. We'll see. Come playoff time and how Boston will do.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the East is getting better. So the Celtics need to either get with it, or we're going to start to see them fade back.
And for all that, stuff they've gotten over the years, all that draft capital and stuff they got over the years, for the Celtics, they can't go back. And like you mentioned, the Knicks on the rise. The Heat are going to be contenders. Pat Riley ain't going to let them, be like this for long. Chicago, if they get their act right together, we'll see how they they shape up. I know in Toronto, Majal Ujiri ain't gonna let this team be like this come next year. They ain't happening. So we'll see how things go about in the league. Come a few weeks. We'll see how things shake out and all that stuff. But ladies, But ladies and gentlemen, this has been our show tonight. Thank you for tuning in with us with another episode of Fast Break. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813. It's usually when I'm on Twitter and Instagram, Black-813. Posting a lot of stuff, as you can see, especially news about the Knicks. The Magic doing what they're doing right now, so I'll be talking about them as well. And I'm still celebrating the Bucks winning the Super Bowl, so you guys can definitely find me there. Let them know they can find you at, man.
You can find me on Twitter as Spawn4288. That is Spawn4288. Also, you can find me on my other podcast, The Crooks Process. You can follow me on Instagram, on Instagram and Facebook. I did drop an episode about a few days ago talking about the passing of DMX and talk about the passing, the Derek Chauvin trial, and then the KD and Michael Rappaport situation, but kind of in an expanded type of way, in a sense. So do look out for that as well. Also, talking about RMPs, before we get more plugs in, we do want to sound condolences out to Terrence Clark, young man from Kentucky that passed away tragically in a car accident. I know he was out in LA training, getting ready for the NBA draft and stuff like that, this coming summer. So we do send our condolences out to his family. Boston kid, had his whole future ahead of him, and kind of, it sucks that, his life got taken away from him before it really got started, for the next few years.
Yeah. Sad news.
So very sad news. I saw some things on people I follow on Twitter. They hinted at somebody died. I was like, but these are Alabama folks. I was like, damn, who in the Alabama family died or something like that? What happened? But then it came out between Terrence Clark, and like I said, condolences to his family, and and a big Blue Nation as well, who they love their basketball, and I know they're heartbroken over this. Also, please do follow us here on IE Sports Radio, on Twitter at IE Sports Radio, Facebook at IE Sports Radio as well. Also on Instagram, IE Sports Radio. Please do follow us on there. Also, a couple more plugs. Mike Pat, who did his show early today, Let's Whine About Sports, doing the draft challenge for IE Sports Radio. If you want to do a mock draft for the first round, do send that in to Mike Pat. His Twitter handle is MikePat91. So you do mock draft. There's Pro Football Focus, a couple others out there. Get that done. Send it to him direct message or email. You'll be added to the contest. Winner in that contest, win a free IE Sports Radio shirt, and you get some love throughout the network here. So I did mine. Hopefully, I did a second one. So hopefully I'll do well in that contest. So if you love mock drafts, love the NFL draft, that is the thing for you to do. Before I get off, I'm going to plug the soccer show, the soccer scoreboard show, Andrew Herringball. I'm pretty sure he's going to be talking about, I guess, the super teams of the the soccer football clubs over in Europe trying to do their own thing. So I know we're going to discuss that, in detail. How to, I guess the rich is kind of like really trying to consolidate and stuff like that, and trying to, do their own thing in a sense. So do look out for that. That listen here at 10 Eastern and 9 Central, 7 Pacific. But till then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in with us. We'll be back next week, and we'll talk to y'all later. We out.
Out of there.